This is the Jae Choe Show, brought to you by Karate Beyond. Discipline, focus, confidence. KarateBeyond.com. Let's begin.
All right, so yeah, make sure you get as close as you can to the mic. Episode. Well, hold on a second. Episode 110. Wow. I think we're on 110. Episode 110 of the Jae Choe Show. I'm here with Nutwoods. If you haven't been to that restaurant, you guys are missing out. Nutwood, Stephen Rojas. Very nice of you to come on the show, my man. Get the mic a little bit, really. You can pull it over close to you. There you go.
Perfect.
We were just talking about where we're from, and you are a Los Angeles native, right?
Yep.
But then moved to San Francisco. Then from San Francisco, you went to Miami.
To Miami.
Right, and then now made your way over to Winter Haven.
Right.
Okay. So, you
have enough time to explain that?
Well, I don't know. We have to go in to all of that, but the collection of experiences that you have, right, led you to your culinary pursuits today, right. And we talked about our love of Korean barbecue, in particular in Los Angeles, Koreatown, Korean barbecue.
So good though.
It's so good. we talked about how you don't take first dates to Korean barbecue because you're gonna end up smelling like smoked meat.
Smoked meat and kimchi. And fermented cabbage. And,
that's right. But it's so good though.
It is. It's delicious.
It's festive. It's almost like a festive festive food. It's like a party.
Yeah.
Right. But you're having it over dinner.
I don't know if you want to go there every single day, but
no.
But it's definitely a place you would bring a bunch of friends and hang out and just like pig out.
Yeah. So were you doing the chef thing in LA?
Yeah, I mean, I've 2 months after I was born, my family moved to Argentina.
Okay.
I came back when I was 6, and basically lived in Culver City all my life till I went to culinary school, graduated, and then I got my first job in Chicago. I went there when I was 21. I believe. I came back to Los Angeles, worked in a couple of restaurants, good restaurants. From there, one of the chefs handed me a Michelin guidebook and go, hey, you're young, you're single, you don't have kids. If you want to travel, take this book. It's a Michelin book from 2000 or 1990 something. And just travel, just go. Just hit up these spots that I circled, and I went on a vacation with my family. We landed in London, and then we took the train, and we saw family in Spain. And on our way back, it's like, I got to try these restaurants out. I knocked on the doors of like 5 restaurants. One of the restaurants says, well, we don't pay. And it's 6-month wait and no room and board. So that didn't work out. I went to another restaurant, basically the same thing. And then one of the last restaurants I worked, I stopped. The chef was there, just like on, the Relais Chateau book was right there. I opened the book, and he was like, nobody's in the kitchen. He's by himself reading a newspaper. I'm like, what was going on? And I walk in, and he goes, yeah, well, you could come in January 2nd. Be here January 2nd. We have room and board, and we feed you. It's like army barracks, basically.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, just like that, I was like, okay, well, I'll be here January 2nd, and I told everybody I'm going to be here January 2nd. So, I was working at a restaurant there at the time, and the time came like around December. It's like, hey, are you still accepting cooks September 2nd? Yeah, just be here. Just to let you know, it's very modest accommodations. Like, oh, I don't care.
Okay.
So,
what was the name of the restaurant?
Martín Berazategui. It's in San Sebastián.
Okay.
Actually, it's Lasarte, but it's like around maybe 15 to 20 kilometers south of San Sebastián, right? So, knowing, like now, thinking about it, I would never go there just to go. Like, maybe they don't have room. Like, it's just like,
Well, how old were you at the time?
I was 24.
Okay.
25.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you're
Whatever.
not thinking
Right.
that far.
I wasn't thinking that. I was like, I'm just gonna go, and I showed up. I flew in. I took the train, got out of the taxi, walked out, and there was literally a line of cooks.
Oh.
A line of cooks, from French cooks, Argentine, Brazilian, a lot of Japanese cooks, and Spanish cooks. And they were just in line to get in. And a lot of those 3-star Michelin restaurants, like they don't hire anybody
Because everyone's coming to get a job.
It's
probably to work for free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they probably have on payroll like 5 guys and a 40-man brigade.
Holy hell.
4 or 5 guys they pay. Everybody else is externs, interns. Just
They're there for the experience.
They're there for the experience. They have to work 6 months or else they won't get their letter of recommendation from Martin Merzitek.
Wow.
So I was one of them. So you walk in and it was like, it's like kickball. There's 2 chefs, there's a line. I pick you. It was like that. You get on the line, you get on each station. There's 4 stations. There's the fish station, the meat station, the entremet, which is like, or the gourmet station, and then there's the pastry. But nobody wanted to go to the pastry. Everybody wanted to be a chef. There was only a few guys that wanted to be pastry chefs. So he only got a couple of them out of the 40.
Where'd you end up?
Yeah, I was in the fish station.
Okay.
Because where I wanted to be in the savory side.
All right.
I wanted to be a chef. I didn't want to be a pastry chef.
Right.
And then after a couple months, people just start dropping off. Like they don't hack it, or they just want to go home, or we ended up. It always ends up being like five guys per station, and I ended up working all the stations, and I was there for a little over 6 months, and I got the letter from a letter of recommendation from the chef, and then from there I went to another restaurant, Accolade, which I wasn't there for a long time. I was there for 3 months, but I didn't have that much time to be in there, so. I didn't get the letter of recommendation, but I just wanted to see something else. And I did a lot of traveling during those 2-3 months after that. Being a chef and being young sort of gives you the freedom to like travel, because everybody has a restaurant. Every country has a restaurant in the world. And that gave you the opportunity to like see other things and cook other types of food and meet other people from all over the world. And anyway, so that was my stint in Spain. I came back. I came back to Los Angeles, and then I worked at Patina Restaurant. Very short after, I became the sous chef there. And then one of the people that were one of the general managers or assistant general managers at the time got offered a job at Saddle Peak Lodge in Calabasas. And then from there, he contacted me. He's like, hey, they're looking for a chef. Well, are you interested? And I was 26. I was 27. I was like, nah, I've never been a chef before. It's a huge restaurant. I mean, like, not volume-wise, but huge as like, it's been there for forever.
Okay.
It was a stop for the Pony Express back in the day, then became a brothel, then it became a hotel, then it became a restaurant, and it's been a restaurant for like almost 80 years.
What's the name of the place again?
Saddle Peak Lodge.
Saddle Peak Lodge. Okay.
Saddle Peak Lodge.
All right. Is it still around today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was like, dude, that's a big job. Like, I don't know if I could. I don't think I'm ready.
I
didn't say that to him.
Right, but in your mind,
I was like,
you're like, you're freaking out.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I asked a couple of chef buddies, friends of mine, older than I was. So what do you think? It's like, just take the bull by the horn and just go.
Just go. Go for it.
Just go for it. I mean, opportunities like this don't really happen. They're going to happen eventually if you keep doing what you're doing. But why not now? So I took it, and I took the job. And I had a staff of like 40 with 2 sous chefs. I mean, that was a huge. I mean, it was a jump.
This just happened to fall into your lap.
Yeah. And it was a moment in my life. I was like, I can't go back after this. I can't be a sous chef after this point. I have to be a chef or above. I can't.
Yeah, there's no
turning back.
No turning back.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought about it long and hard, and I was like, let's just go for it. I mean, at that point, I did have around 8 to 10 years of experience at that point, but I knew that I wasn't completely ready because I knew there was a lot more to learn. But I was 27. I took the job. Within that year, the Michelin Guide there was rumors that the Michelin Guide was coming out to Los Angeles and Las Vegas. So in 2008, I got a phone call from the Michelin Guide saying that, hey, so you're going to be recommended or you're going to be mentioned in the book. I'm like, great.
Thanks.
I got mentioned.
Okay.
We're going to get mentioned in the book. That's great.
All right.
And there was rumors. The LA Times didn't like the fact that Michelin came because the LA Times was the place where you go to find out good and bad restaurants. There was no Michelin Guide. It was like you want to find out restaurants, you go to Zagat.
Right, Zagat.
You go to the LA Times because they had a reviewer and all that. Zagat didn't like it. Nobody liked the fact that Michelin came out of nowhere and just started rating restaurants. But they've been doing it for forever.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, well, if you had your choice of getting a Zagat rating or an LA Times rating or a Michelin star rating,
Michelin star,
you're gonna get the Michelin star.
Yeah,
That's like
and
that's like getting the Oscars, kind of, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know, man.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Well,
right?
Yeah, there's not a lot of restaurants that have it.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of restaurants that have it. Definitely.
You know, when you I mean, these days everyone seems to be a foodie, right? Everyone has an opinion about food.
Everybody has an opinion about everything,
right?
Which is great.
But when you have a Michelin star, everyone's like, oh, jeez.
But those guys travel. That's all they do is eat in restaurants, good restaurants. Like their majority of their adult life. So
that's a hell of a job to have.
It is. The thing is, it's not like they're going to Applebee's and then going to like French Laundry. What I'm trying to say, they're consistent.
Right.
They're consistent what they eat.
Yeah.
So they know how to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges. So they already know more or less.
They're already sitting there driving Bentleys, right? They're not gonna go back to a Chevy.
I don't know, man.
Or that's the comparison, right?
Yeah, it's like
yeah. I mean, that's the pool. That's the pool that they swim in that pool.
To know good food, you gotta eat good food.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So that's what I'm trying to say is like these guys know good food. And anyhow, they called me back. I was in during service. They called me back, and they said, "Well, expect a call on Saturday morning, this date." It's like, okay, that's weird. The Michelin Guide called me and told me that expect a phone call on Saturday morning. So okay, 7:00 in the morning, the phone rang. I pick up. And it's Jean-Luc Nared. He's the director of Michelin at the time. He's like, I want to congratulate you that your restaurant received a Michelin star.
Damn. This was your first restaurant?
Yep.
And you get a Michelin star in your first restaurant?
My first chef, the first chef position.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, that's your restaurant.
Right.
As a chef.
Right.
Because
the Michelin goes to the chef. When the chef leaves, the new chef has an opportunity to get it. The restaurant,
the restaurant doesn't hold that on.
Doesn't hold it. It's the chef that's in there, right?
Damn.
So
damn.
I was like, oh my god, what? I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. I was like,
how long have you had that restaurant? Or have you?
I was there for 2 years.
For 2 years before that happened.
No, I was there for 1 year, and then the next year we had it. We received it. So about 2.5 years I was there. Dude. And but the first year we received it, and I was there an additional year.
Okay.
And then the economy hit. This is 2008, 2007.
Got it.
And like all these restaurants were like doing poorly. Like all the fine dining restaurants in the area were just closing. And anyway, so long story short, fine dining took a hit. I ended up going to San Diego where I worked at a hotel there. And it was just, from at that point on, it was just trying to like survive and cook quality food that I grew up cooking. Yeah. And I wanted to keep it at that level. And then from there, I went to San Francisco, is where I met my wife. I was working there, and then we decided what our next steps are because San Francisco is getting expensive. She has family in Florida. She is from Florida. She's from Miami originally. And then we ended up moving to Florida and Miami. And, it's easier to open a restaurant in Florida than California, you know, unless you want like 20 investors and stuff like that. At that point, it's like, are you really part of the restaurant? Do you really own it at that point, or what do you do? You know,
dude, we can go on and on about. Unfortunately, this is a morning podcast. We need to have you back on an evening podcast when you're not working,
right?
And we can have some drinks and we can dive deep into your experiences there.
You could go into it. I mean, there's so many things to talk about as far as like cost of living.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, just your experience in San Diego and in San Francisco, and then of course now to Miami.
Right.
But then you guys made your way to Winter Haven, and like we were downstairs talking before the show, and you said that you bought your house that you're living in and the restaurant at the exact same time.
And we had at the time our son was 2.
Dude, you're nuts.
I know.
God, there's no rolling start for you. It's just just like, we'll just go ahead and do everything all at once. Yeah.
I opened the restaurant, I think, in 4 months, 3 months. I was working at the time, and I was working in Broward, some crappy restaurant I'm not going to mention, but I was there, just trying to like have a job. Because I was waiting for this to happen, and I was just waiting. When is this going to happen? When is this going to happen? And the reason why we ended up in Winter Haven is because there was a property, Nutwood. There was a property open. It was vacant, and nobody was in there. And we decided, well, it's either that or a food truck. But a food truck in Miami or a restaurant, a brick and mortar restaurant in Winter Haven.
Yeah.
And so like, but we get to own the property and we get to buy it and own it.
Might as well have that. Yeah. And like you can have,
well,
you
the
can
truck
grow,
depreciates in value every time you turn it on. It's like it doesn't.
Yeah. And you can grow, you're growing roots, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And now, a lot of chefs told me, like, wherever you're going to go, just stay there. Because I was traveling, from Spain, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, San Diego. It's like, you got to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
So you get
all
reputation,
those experiences in the past,
right.
Now you kind of spearheaded into this one spot.
Right.
And I've had the pleasure of going there to your restaurant.
Thank you.
And damn, man, like, it's no joke, it's so good.
Right.
Like everyone was like, yeah, you got to go to the Nutwood. I have friends of mine, that frequent your restaurant all the time. Right. And they're like, you got to come to Nutwood. Right. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. I'm like, okay, all right, it's great. I heard you got the Michelin star. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine. And every single dish was like, bam, bam. Like everything was good. Like every bite was good. Every spoonful was just delicious. And it like blew my mind, man. Like it was that. It was
we have
fantastic.
Our limitations. We have obviously not every spot is ideal. I mean, it's off a couple of blocks away from downtown. It's not in downtown. It's a couple of blocks away from downtown Winter Haven. We don't have a huge neon sign that says we're open. We have a smaller sign that says Nutwood. It's a house converted into a restaurant. We didn't do that. It's been a restaurant for about 20 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. Our parking, we have enough parking. I mean, we just don't. We're not your cookie cutter type restaurant where there's a parking lot and neon signs saying we're open. This, that. We don't have that. So it took a while for us to really for people to know where we were, what we are. Mm-hmm. And before we even opened the restaurant, I was saying, well, there was an article written in Gourmet Magazine or Food and Wine that it was an article about big city chefs moving to smaller towns or towns where they grew up, and opening restaurants, the same or equivalent restaurants where they worked in big cities. And I was thinking, well, I mean, it just because, Winter Haven is a small town doesn't mean people don't appreciate good food. So that was our way of thinking about what we should do. at Nutwood, and little by little, I'm implementing stuff that we would be cooking elsewhere. I'm not gonna cook a certain way for the demographic, because there's gonna be people that are gonna be like, oh, I don't have to travel all the way over there to try octopus. I want to eat it here, or foie gras, or like who knows what. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, let's just do what we do, and people will come, and that's what we've been doing. And
I mean, you've got to have so many regulars.
we do
You
have a
gotta
lot
have
of
a-
regulars.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thank God for them.
and your menu, you look at like pricing wise.
Yeah,
It's
you
not, dude. It's not bad.
Right.
I mean, for what you're getting, for the quality of food
Right.
that you're getting.
And that's the beauty about living in Winter Haven, because if we lived in Tampa, those prices would be
prices be
30 and up.
Yeah.
You know, and we have, yeah, I mean, the community really, they're very helpful. They support us a lot, you know, and having that type of environment as far as the pricing. I mean, foie gras costs the same in LA than it does here, but the rent doesn't. You know, so you could adjust the pricing.
Right.
You could adjust the menu options, you know, to make it more affordable, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But it's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And you still have to make money. So, I mean, you have to find a middle ground of what is acceptable and, you know, what is enough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my favorite restaurants of all time come in form of, you know, places that aren't like very well manicured.
Mine too.
Right, like
Mine
the
too,
very, you know, like we talked about K-Town. You know, you can go to restaurants there that are literal holes in the wall,
Right.
and
Those are the best ones.
and they're the best ones, and they do
Absolutely.
a very particular thing at each one. They do very well at certain things. That's all they focus on, and it just works.
Right.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying that your restaurant is far from being a hole in the wall. It's a home that's been converted into a restaurant.
Well, I mean, it's not, and
You know.
it's off the beaten path in a way.
And it's kind of off the
Right,
beaten
right,
path, right? You
right.
have to really be looking for it in order to find it.
Right.
And people talk highly of it, and they'll come.
Right.
And they do. And it's great. It's a fantastic
Thank
place. Tell us a little bit about you know, stepping away from Nutwood, of course. Tell us about what you like locally, so far as other restaurants that you like to go with your wife, if you have the opportunity. Well, if you have the time, obviously. Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel bad because I'm a restaurant owner and I don't frequent a lot of local spots. And then the reason why is because I'm at home and I like to cook at home. Like, we all like just hang out at home and just cook. We cook a lot. But I've been to the Red Door. Marco's from 1961's been to the restaurant a handful of times. I still feel bad because I have not gone over there.
Oh, how dare you.
I know. And he's like, every time I see him, he's like, hey, Papo, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
He's such a nice guy.
he's an awesome dude. But I feel bad because he comes and I don't go to his restaurant. So
Right.
I need to make a point to go.
Well, you need someone in your spot doing what you do
Well, I mean,
a little bit.
and I do. Thank God, I have a great staff.
Yeah.
Like a great staff, and they know what to do. But it's just hard to get out. I think his schedule is, I don't even know his schedule, but
Man,
I have to make a point to go.
That dude, I mean, they've gone through some trials. Those
Well,
guys,
yeah, everybody
right?
does.
Oh yeah, you know, but
Everybody
like
does.
now they're at a point where it's kind of, it looks like they're, you know, they're
Good.
They're good. They're good to go.
Right.
He doesn't have to necessarily be there all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
And I want to be there because I like to be there.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't want to be there. It's my restaurant.
Dude, your kitchen is like so accessible.
Yeah.
After we had
Saw
dinner,
that? The grand tour was.
you know,
that was it.
just a head turn.
Yeah.
Like, hey, is that Steven? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm a chef and owner, and the chef and owners have to cook.
Yeah.
They have to be there, and when you're not there, even when I'm not there, and I know it's taken care of, and I know all the guys are using salt properly, and I know that they're cooking things properly. It's about just being there, just showing face, you know. And
Yeah, I get it.
you know,
I get it, man.
but I love it. So it's, you know, I just have to get some time. And I've been to Richard's a couple of times when Jason was the chef there. I know he's got a new chef, Lucy, and I haven't tried her food, but
It's really good. It's good stuff.
As far as Winter Haven, just like, you know, like the fish spots, you know, Harry's old place, and
I haven't, besides
Harry's,
your restaurant, I hadn't been to many. You know, it's like Winter Haven's like one of those spots now where, okay, we're gonna venture out of Lakeland, right? You know, we're in such a bubble here, right?
We get people from Lakeland saying, "Oh, we travel all the way down from Lakeland," and I'm like, "What? Did you get a hotel room to stay? What are you doing?" But you know, it's what you travel 25, 15 to 35 minutes to go to a restaurant.
Yeah.
In a major city, that's what your favorite restaurant is 30 minutes away.
Exactly.
So
it's not that big of a jump.
If you think about it, it's just a bigger,
right?
It's a bigger spot. But what else? Yeah, we just cook at home a lot.
Okay, all right.
And we're homebodies for the most part. We go to
Okay.
Lakeland,
Yeah.
Busch Gardens.
You have the one child?
Yeah, just one.
Just one. Okay. all right.
One's enough for us.
Okay. All right.
He's a handful.
This is the question that I ask everybody, and you can answer it however which way you want. What do you want?
As far as
I don't know. As far as anything.
well, I mean, what I want is, I mean, I sort of have what I want. I mean, I have a restaurant. I have a nice place to live that's comfortable. There's no traffic, right? People say traffic. They say Polk County or Winter Haven, when the snowbirds come, there's a lot of traffic. It's like you have no idea what traffic is if you're saying there's a lot of traffic.
If you come from major metropolitan spots like L.A., San Diego, Los Angeles, Miami,
there's no traffic.
There's not traffic.
It's the way of life here is it's just at my stage in my life is perfect, But ultimately, I'd like to have a couple of other little spots that I want to go eat at, like that I crave, like ethnic food. I crave ethnic food. I'm talking about Indian. I'm talking about Vietnamese, Thai. Like my favorite cuisine ever is Burmese food, and it's
Burmese,
like Myanmar.
Okay.
Between Indian and
I've never
Indonesia.
had it. Never had it.
It's like the perfect combination of Indian food and Indonesian food. If you put them together. Yeah, it's like my favorite. So what I want, I almost have. I'm happy. I have a restaurant. I have a great family. My commute is short. My stuff is great. All the bills are paid. It's great. But I like to have a couple of other spots that I like to go out to eat. You know what I mean? Like a good ethnic spot, a good sandwich shop.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's a couple of people opening stuff in Winter Haven, which is great. I can't really say anything about it, but there's good things happening.
Yeah.
And
that's exciting.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I didn't even know how it was 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, but they're saying it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down with that. That's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's very different here in Lakeland now.
Right.
Right. I mean, you're all the big box spots are,
right.
I mean, they're still there, but, you get these, entrepreneurial individuals that, have food in their mind and they're opening up.
That's great.
So
that's great.
Yeah. We want to see more of that.
More of that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Is that a good enough answer?
That was a good enough answer, man. Okay. That was a good enough answer. I mean, you're satisfied, but you're not satiated.
Right.
Right?
Right. You can't lessen your laurels.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta,
you gonna open up a spot here in Lakeland?
Maybe. I don't know yet. I'm 42. My when I was 32, I had a 10-year plan to open a restaurant in my late 30s. I sort of did that. I did it at 39, 38. So I sort of want to. I haven't written one yet, but I'm going to, like a 5-year plan, what I want to do in 5 years. But definitely keep Nutwood. I like to expand Nutwood, make it a little bit bigger, make the kitchen a little bit bigger. Little things like that are just going to be improvements. and you know, we just wait until the next opportunity comes. If it comes, if not, it's okay. Yeah, I'm open to anything really.
It would be great for you to have a spot here in Lakeland. I say that selfishly, obviously.
And a lot of people say that, and it's like, where are you gonna go? I mean, everything's like
no. See, this is what I think is that you would be able to pull off opening a spot that is so off the beaten path,
right.
But here in Lakeland,
how about a Korean spot,
dude? You're talking my language. You're talking my language. If you open a Korean spot, man, right. I would be forever indebted to you.
I just need to get 1 year stage in a restaurant, in a couple restaurants in South Korea, and just go.
Yeah.
Just do like a food tour and work for a couple places for 6 months, come back.
Yeah, your wife would kill you. Your wife would kill you. Yeah.
Yeah, but she could come. She could work remotely.
There you go.
She could work remotely. And my son could learn a little Korean.
There's a restaurant in Korea that's that unfortunately does not exist.
Okay.
I don't know the name of it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it has a name. It's situated in a neighborhood.
Okay.
Where there's no parking. Like it's all like alleys and small roads.
Wow.
For parking, and they have maximum capacity is 12 or 16. Wow. And it's all homegrown food, vegetables that's picked from the mountain in the morning by the proprietor. They're both elderly. It's a restaurant. Okay. It's a restaurant inside their home.
Wow.
Their home is their restaurant.
And where is this?
In Korea, in Seoul. And this is a place that when I fly into Korea, that's the first stop. No, I'm sorry, that's not the first stop. There's a noodle place. That's my first stop. But this is the place that I will eat as the last restaurant before I fly back to the United States, so it's like after visiting.
Your go-to spot before you go back.
Go-to spot before I go back. Yeah. And so you walk in, you take your shoes off, and it's still kind of part of the floors are still dirt floors, kind of, right? Mm-hmm. So you have sandals coming up until you walk up to the platform where you sit. Yeah. You know, and they have menus on the wall, and it's like maybe 5 items. Maybe,
and it's like all excellent.
Yeah, and it's all like parchment paper, right? Because it was written like a long time ago,
okay,
right? And it's a mother and father, well, grandfather now. They were both elderly that just work there, and they bring fresh coals, right, to put into for the barbecue.
Yeah,
he walks up the mountain in the morning to pick all the herbs and vegetables, bring back to use for the day, right? All the meats are locally sourced by a butcher nearby. Right. And is the most fantastical food that you'll ever have.
That's awesome.
It's like, and it's inexpensive.
But it's closed though.
Yeah, because nobody would take over it. No young person would come and say, hey, I'll continue doing this restaurant.
Right. I'm sure it's very tough to run though.
I don't know. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, nobody stepped up to the plate to say, hey, I'm going to keep this good thing going.
Yeah.
And
that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. But I'm sure there's more out there.
Right.
Hopefully, God willing, there's more of those kinds of restaurants.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far as that food tour, so we have in the works a Korean food tour, because the last time I went, I always take like photos and videos of all the restaurants that I eat. Like glorious food, right? But so there's a bunch of people that want to go to Korea, so we're going to get a group together to go.
I'd love to go.
Yeah, I'll put you on the list.
Of all the Asian countries, probably Korea and Japan are my favorite.
Yeah, like I haven't done Japan yet. I want to do Japan for sure. Yeah. Okay, where do we find you and Nutwood?
We're located in 2 blocks, or let's just say downtown Winter Haven, 132 Avenue B Southwest. We're located. Well, I already said where I'm located. I'm sorry, 132 Avenue B Southwest. We're open Wednesday through Saturday, dinner 5:30 to 9, and then we're open from lunch from 11:30 to 2 o'clock, and then we're open for brunch 11:30 to 2.
Nice. Nutwood.com. No, what's your URL?
Our website is www.nutwoodwh as in Winter Haven.
Got it.
.com. And
Perfect.
We have an Instagram and a Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook. I tag you guys on all the deliciousness.
Awesome.
So good.
Thank you.
All right, man. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Jae Choe Show. Brought to you by Karate Beyond. Discipline, focus, confidence. KarateBeyond.com.